Here we are at the craft cabin. I'm going to show you how to do a craft today. We are going to make some scrapbooks. And what we're going to make today are fancy accordion scrapbooks. So what you're going to need is some cardboard. You can use an old box of whatever you've got lying around, just some cardboard, as long as it's at least 4.5 inches square, and you need 2 of them. You need 3 pieces of preferably cardstock, but regular, any old kind of paper will work as well. And they're going to be 8 by 8. So just make sure it's as big as that. Then you're going to need some fancy paper. I've got some scrapbooking paper, but wrapping paper would work, or you can even use fabric. And you need a piece of ribbon that's at least 25 inches long. Then the other tools you will need are a ruler, a pencil, some glue stick works best, and some scissors. So I'm going to get my camera all set up and we're going to make some of these scrapbooks. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is take our cardstock. This does work better if you use cardstock, but as I said before, you can also use regular paper or construction paper, anything that you can fold. And we're going to measure out our 8-inch by 8-inch squares. For our younger campers, you might want to get a grown-up to help you with this because it really has to be nice and straight lines, or it just won't fold together quite as nicely. So you want to be very precise and mark 8 inches by 8 inches. And then you want to take your scissors and cut those out very carefully along the lines. And you're going to do that with all 3 pieces of cardstock or paper that you have. All right, next we want to make sure that we've got our pieces of cardboard. You can use thicker cardboard, thinner cardboard, a cereal box. This is what we happen to have, so I'm going to use this. And again, we have to measure nice and precise. So I'm going to go from this line here, and I'm going to measure 4.5. Because this is what's going to make our covers for our scrapbook, and they need to be just a bit bigger than the inside. So 4.5 that way, and 4.5 that way. And we can draw our lines. And I'm going to use this as a line, and I'm going to use this as a line. And then we're going to cut them out. All right, so now the next step I'm going to do right now is I'm going to cut out the paper I want to use for the cover of my scrapbook, just so I get all the cutting out, most of the cutting out done right away. So I want to use this as my cover for my scrapbook, and I need the front cover and the back cover. So these ones we are going to cut out 5.5 by 5.5. So I'll make those marks. All right, so now we're ready to start putting things together. So first thing I think I'm going to do is I'm going to cover my covers. So basically all you need to do is put your piece of cardboard in the middle as much as you can. It doesn't need to be perfect, but as much as you can in the middle. And then I'm going to take my glue stick. Actually, I'm going to do it this way because I think it'll stick better to the non-shiny part of the cardboard. And I'm just going to make a line here. And then I'm going to fold that like that. Stick it down. It's almost like wrapping a present, because now I'm going to do a line here of glue and fold that one over. Then you can fold this straight up, but just to make it tidy, I like to kind of put the corners in a bit like this and like this, like a birthday present that you're wrapping. I'll put some glue along here and stick that up. And then some along here. Stick that up. And then we can set that to the side to dry. Make sure you got enough glue on there that it stays. And do the exact same with the other one. If you need a little extra glue in some spots, you can always add a little bit extra here and there. This corner doesn't want to stay stuck. And we'll put a little more in this corner too. There we go. All right, so now this is the part that is very tricky. So younger campers, you'll probably need a grown-up to help you, or an older camper. So this is all folding. What we're going to do is we're going to fold one of our squares as close to perfectly in half as we can. Make a nice crease. Then we're going to open it, twist it like that. Do the exact same. Fold it. Then we're going to open it. You have to do this part slowly so you don't get confused as to which is going what way. Now, here's the confusing part. We need to turn it over and then only one time fold one corner to one corner. Doesn't matter if it's that corner or that corner, but you just pick one, not both. And you make it into a triangle like that. So there's one done. You do the exact same with the others.
So fold in half, open, twist, fold in half, open, flip it over, fold in one triangle.
Try to make your creases nice and sharp.
And then the last one. Fold in half, open, twist, fold in half, open, flip it over, fold in half on a triangle. There we go.
Now, they're all going to look like this. If you sort of pop the corner up like that, now you kind of get an idea of how our different accordion pages will be. Because these two creased in the middle triangle ones can almost come together like that. And then you squish the folds and you can make sure all your folds are nice and tight. So when you've got your triangle like this, pop up the middle. You can do it this way too if you want. Put the corners together like this. Or not the corners, the triangle edges if you want together like this, and then push the squares one on top of each other. So you're going to do that with all of them. Now, if I open it up a little and put them like this, you'll see that they're almost all kind of bowl shaped. So this again is another very tricky part. You may need to pause and rewind the video a few times for this part. So you put your 3 bowls in a row like this. But then you turn over the middle one. So now you've got like a little mountain Okay, you've got a mountain and two valleys, if you like. And this is how we're going to glue them together. So make sure that your folded triangles are close to you and away from you so that your squares are next to each other. Because the way we do this, you got your mountain in the middle and your two valleys over here. You're going to take your glue stick. Okay, actually, I'll show you first what we're going to do before we glue it. So basically, you're going to take your two squares and glue one on top of the other like this, and one on top of the other like this. It doesn't really matter if you glue them like this or glue them like this. Both works. I find it a little easier to do it that way. So I'm going to spread them out a bit. And I'm going to put glue on this one, on this corner, this square. Make sure I get the edges. That's important. And then I'm going to put just a little bit in the middle too. Then I'm going to line this square on top of this square, remembering to make sure that the one that's sort of like a mountain is in the middle and the valleys are on either side. There you go. And you just glue that down like that. You see? And then we're going to do the exact same with this one over here. We're going to put glue all around the edges, some in the middle, and then one right on top of the other. You really have to try and make sure things line up. Part of the reason I like to do it this way is because then I know that these corners will fall over the edges properly if I've got it lined up. Okay, and I could just make sure that that's all together. So now you will see that when again I put my triangle edges and I push those ones together this way, and these ones will go together this way, these ones will do the opposite and go underneath. But when you fold it all together like that, now we have our accordion that opens up like that. So the next step, and this is an important one, because when I've made these before, I sometimes forget this part and then I have to take it apart again. So I want to figure out if there's an up or down to my picture. With my balloons, it doesn't really matter too much, but I just want to make sure they're kind of both facing the same way. Now on whichever one I think should be the back. So I think this is maybe kind of a bit nicer. I'm going to make that my front. So that makes this my back. On the back, you're going to take your ribbon. I cheat a bit and I just, whoops, fold it in half, make a tiny little crease so I know where the half is. So that I'm going to now glue this in the middle along the strip like this, where my up and down, because I wanted that to be up and down, right along the middle of the back cover. So I'm going to take my glue stick and I'm going to put glue right along there just to hold it in place. And because my ribbon is shiny, I want the shiny to be on the outside when I tie it up. So there's the shiny on one side and this side is less shiny. So I'm making sure that the shiny will be on the outside like this. Then, leave that open. Then I'm going to, all right, it's easiest if you do fold this all up in the accordion like this. So now on one of the outside squares, let's move that up a bit. I'm just going to cover it with glue. Make sure it's all good and sticky and gluey. All right. Then I'm going to try to center it as much as I can. Doesn't have to be perfect, but try to put it in the center like that and glue it down. My fingers are sticky, so I'm trying not to touch the paper too much. Just like that. Now, the top piece that's showing, I'm going to smother that with glue as well. And I'm going to put the top on as straight as I can. And push that down. So then you can tie up your scrapbook to keep it together without opening up. And you're best to leave it sit for a little bit and let the glue dry. But then you can also take pieces of paper, and in here, these squares are 4 by 4. So you can cut out pieces of paper if you want and decorate in there, or different kinds of paper that match. Or if you cut a 4 by 4 square and then cut it completely in half, you can decorate some of these things as well. So this one is ready. You could put stickers, you could do whatever you want. So I have a couple that are already done that I will show you. This one, oops, not tied up right now. This one was tied up. This one is a little bit fancier because I used fabric and I put a little padding in it. So if you wanted to make a friend a scrapbook for their birthday, or you know, some piece of memorabilia, then in this one I did decorate the inside with different kinds of papers that match. And you could put little pictures. You could use it. My kids once did a birthday party and they all made these, and we took pictures at the party and printed them out, and each kid got to take it home with pictures of the fun that they had at the party. Or here's another one. You can just see, you just pull it to open, and if you go slowly, it should fold right back the way it is. This one here is mine from 2010, and I used it as my camp autograph book. So these are different things you can do with it. I hope you have fun, and if you manage to make this craft, please send a picture of what you made into us and how you decorated it, or what ideas you had for using your scrapbook, and maybe we can share it with the group later. Let's see, just close these up just by tying them. That's it. Happy crafting. Enjoy.